Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Wisconsin.
It is a gorgeous summer-like April day here in St. Louis. The Milwaukee Brewers and St. Louis Cardinals are set to close out their three-game series. It's the rubber match as John Lackey is set to face Mike Fiers. Hi, everybody. I'm Craig Kashan. Welcome as we continue our coverage of Brewers baseball here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Unfortunately for Milwaukee, right out of the gates here today, they're going to be playing shorthanded as Carlos Gomez is headed back to Milwaukee to be evaluated later this afternoon by team doctors after straining his right hamstring. And it happened in last night's game in the ninth inning as he was trying to leg out an infield hit. And you can see as he's running down the baseline, he comes up just a little bit gimpy as he's ready to hit the bag. He says it's sore now, but hopeful it feels worse than it is, and so he can avoid the disabled list. But Ron Roenicke, the Brewers manager, was asked whether the rest of the team needs to pick up their game at this point, and he was very cautious about that.
That's what's gotten us in trouble is when these guys are pressing and trying to do too much. We're not very good at that. So they really need to stay in their game and just do what you do. And whoever we get at the leadoff spot to cover it, hopefully they're doing their part. They're not going to be driving the ball out of the ballpark like Gomi can, but hopefully they're getting on base enough to where we've got all those good RBI guys right behind them, and we should score some runs.
Now, it is shocking that the Brewers still with only 2 wins here on the season. So who picks up for Carlos Gomez, at least in the batting order today? It's going to be Gene Segura. Who takes over for the Gold Glover in the outfield? There are some options. BN Rock will explore those when we come back. Game 3, Brewers and Cardinals here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
just about ready for baseball this afternoon, and it is a gorgeous afternoon in St. Louis, Missouri. Busch Stadium is the site. Game 3 of this series. It is the rubber game of this 3-game series, and we welcome you back from St. Louis alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson, and as Craig mentioned, the Brewers are having to dig deep right now in their outfield depth. Carlos Gomez back in Milwaukee. That means Gerardo Parra gets the start here today. I don't think that's the biggest concern with the Brewers, but Parra does bring a Gold Glove caliber glove to the outfield.
Yeah, this is why you want veterans on your bench. I mean, Gerardo Parra, 2-time Gold Glover. He can play center field. I don't think the Brewers are too much worried about the defense that they're going to miss in the absence of Carlos Gomez. But when you lose your leadoff hitter and kind of your inspirational leader, I mean, Gomez is one of those guys that gets everybody going. But defensively, I think the Brewers are going to be A-OK. Parra, a veteran guy. He's been around. He started a ton of games in the big leagues. I think he's going to be just fine. I don't think that's the biggest worry the Brewers have. I think long-term, how bad is Carlos Gomez?
Yeah, and then the backup of the backup starts to become a concern as well. And when you lose a piece like Gomez, an all-star starter, you have to have others step up offensively. Ryan Braun is used to carrying the load offensively, but he really hasn't done that in the last couple of seasons. He needs to go here.
Well, finally healthy. I think that thumb injury that he had operated on, that thing's starting to feel good. He had a pretty good spring training after a slow start. When you see Ryan Braun start to drive the ball to the opposite field, that means he's feeling comfortable at the plate, not trying to jump out at the baseball. We saw that all last year with Ryan Braun. So at some point, Ryan Braun gets hot. Guys in the middle of the batting order need to start driving in runs. The Brewers in yesterday's ball game had a ton of opportunities to score, just could not come up with a big hit.
Well, Ryan Braun missed a couple of games early in the season. Carlos Gomez is going to miss today, and who knows how long he'll be out. Brewers are down a little bit to 2-6. Trying to get it going, though. They got Mike Fiers on the mound, matching up against the Redbirds. Craig Kashawn will tell you more about Fiers and his matchup today when we continue.
Degrees today, perfect weather for a pitcher, and Mike Fiers on the hill. Very good career numbers against the St. Louis Cardinals. Look at that ERA of just over 1 for Mike Fiers, and he could use a game like that here today. And go back to his first game against Pittsburgh. 5 innings, 5 runs allowed for Mike Fiers. Not what he's used to, that's for sure. In fact, let's take a look at our T-Mobile Game Changer numbers for Mike Fiers a year ago. That ERA is really the one to keep track of, just over 2 for Mike Fiers. Game in and game out has kept his team in the ball game, but over the last 5 seasons, he's only spent parts of those on the major league level. He wants 2015 to be his first complete season.
Mature mentally, mature physically. Being through certain situations, I think, make you better and make you understand situations better, and I think being calm through a lot of the things that go on makes you a little bit better as well, instead of being just out there. Having the being able to relax your body, relax your mind in certain situations, on and off the field, pitching in tight situations. Being in spots where I've been in before now, so that I come into that situation, I feel more comfortable instead of out of place. Facing a lot of guys I've faced before, getting a good feel for them, good feel for pitching in certain parks. There's a lot of variables going into learning this game, and I think obviously there's a lot more to learn, but right now I feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mike Fiers has overcome a lot on and off the field. He's hoping for win number 1 here in the 2015 season, and just the Brewers' 3rd this year. See if he can get it done. First pitch on the way on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
And there are the Cardinals hitting the field behind their all-star third baseman Matt Carpenter. And they got John Lackey on the mound here today. And Brewers baseball this afternoon on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. What a great day for the grand old game. Sun shining brightly. Afternoon baseball, the way it's supposed to be played. Ron Renicky and the Brewers trying to get back to winning ways after losing last night. And the Brewers losing their all-star center fielder, Carlos Gomez, as well. So Renicky's had to shift up his lineup a little bit and decides on the hot-hitting Gene Segura to lead off this afternoon.
Segura didn't lead off at all this spring, but he's in that spot today against Lackey. The rest of the Potawatomi batting order for the Brew Crew: Lucroy hits second, Ryan Braun batting third. Middle of the order is Lind, Ramirez, and Davis. And the bottom three: Scooter Gennett, Gerardo Parra, and Mike Fiers rounding it out. And Rock, that's the lineup that will face John Lackey.
Yeah, veteran right-hander John Lackey split time between the Red Sox and the Cardinals last year. And between both of them, 14-10 in 31 starts. He made 10 starts with St. Louis a year ago, where he was 3-3 with a .430 earned run average, and got a no decision against the Reds his first time out.
4 earned runs, just 67 pitches in 6 innings in that game. And the first pitch of the day is swung on and popped up, foul territory. Segura watches anxiously, and that one ends up in the Cardinal dugout. Well, Segura's really swung the bat well, and that's the reason why he is in the leadoff spot. Scooter Gennett would be the other choice.
And I think if Gomez goes on the disabled list, I think Renicky would be much happier with Segura at that spot, against right-handers and left. And with Segura in the leadoff spot, he's really only moving one guy out of position. Segura was down at 7th. He moves into 1st. Everybody else kind of falls in place.
Well, if you're just picking us up, and Craig Kashan, our reporter, will have more on the story as the day continues, but Carlos Gomez is on his way back to Milwaukee. Segura strikes out for the first out of the ball game. Gomez having his hamstring evaluated by team doctors in Milwaukee, and then a decision will be made after that, probably by the time the Brewers land in Pittsburgh tonight, whether they are going to place Gomez on the disabled list and bring up somebody from the minor leagues, or if they're going to play a man short and try to get Gomez through the next few days. We'll see.
I can't imagine he's going to be ready to go by tomorrow at least. So today, tomorrow for sure. I would imagine that the Brewers are going to be playing a little bit short-handed if they don't DL Gomez.
Jonathan Lucroy back in the 2 spot in the order. Swung the bat well yesterday, had 2 hits in yesterday's game. Hits that one hard to right, but right at Hayward, and 2 quick outs for Lackey.
Let's check out the Menards Cardinals defense. Same outfield as the first 2 games of the series. Holiday, Jay, and Hayward. You got 1 change on the infield. Former Brewer Mark Reynolds at first. Matt Adams gets the day off. Carpenter, Peralta, and Wong round out the infield. And as usual, Yadier Molina behind home plate.
There's a good look at Mark Reynolds. Had a nice chat with him yesterday. Said he's enjoying his time here in St. Louis, but really enjoyed his time as a Brewer last year. He was raving about Miller Park, the fans. Had a lot of great things to say about the organization, and he's a big fan of Ron Renicky as well. So it's good to hear all that. Ryan Braun with 2 outs, and he swings and lifts it in the air. Easy play for Jay, and that will retire the side, and Lackey blows right through the Brewers' order on 6 pitches, 5 of them strikes. Mike Fiers this afternoon. The Brewers go 1-2-3 in the first. Mike Matheny went deep into his bullpen yesterday to get that win. St. Louis coming in at 4-3 on the season through the first 7 games. Here is the Cardinals batting order brought to you by Potawatomi. Carpenter, Hayward, Holiday, Peralta, Reynolds, John Jay in the middle. The only change is Mark Reynolds, Yadier Molina, Colton Wong, and John Lackey rounded out.
Well, 29-year-old Mike Fiers getting his second start of the year. He took a loss to the hands of the Pirates. 5 innings, 5 runs. You see the strikeouts, 8 punch-outs, only 1 walk.
First offering to Matt Carpenter is in there for a strike.
And nice season for Fiers a year ago in the big league. 6-5 and a .213 earned run average in 10 starts.
Well, it all started for Fiers in the big leagues in a roundabout way right here in St. Louis. This was the spot where Matt Garza was injured in August. Carpenter in the air, left field. Davis will settle under that one. And there is out number 1. Now, once Garza went on the disabled list, Fiers came up, and during that 10-start stretch in the major leagues, he was the best. Only Clayton Kershaw had a better ERA in that stretch, and Fiers was certainly the best in the Brewers rotation and one of the best statistically in the National League in that period.
Yep, after a rough season the year before. Really nice bounce back season for him last year, and he's had good success against the Cardinals. 2-1 and a .130 earned run average against St. Louis in 4 starts.
Yesterday we saw the Cardinals swing early in the count against Willie Peralta. They were on attack, and it worked to their advantage yesterday. They scored a couple of early runs. They scored 4 runs in the first 5 innings. Brewers stranded a ton of base runners yesterday. The Cardinals left 12 on in the opener. Yesterday the Brewers stranded 11. Each club with 10 hits, and St. Louis won the game 4-2.
The Brewers only 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position last night.
Yeah, had a lot of traffic, right? Just couldn't get the big hit.
Every inning they had men on except for 1.
And they chased the starter, Lance Lynn, after 5 innings. He was up near 100 pitches through 5 innings. So it was all good in a lot of areas except the most important area, and that's delivering runs across the plate. 2 balls and a strike on Jason Hayward. Cardinals are very happy to have Hayward on their club. They lost Oscar Taveras, tragic death in the offseason, a car accident. He was scheduled to be their right fielder, not just for this year, but for a long, long time. And so they had to scramble to find an option. Hayward was that option. Sends one deep into center field, and Parra runs it down. What a catch by Gerardo Parra.
Yeah, he can run him down. He can run him down with the best of them. I don't think the Brewers too concerned about replacing the defense for Gomez. It's the offense that they're going to miss. Well, it's a nice running catch. Never does take his eye off the baseball. Knows exactly where he is, and Gerardo able to run that one down. It's a good time to check out the Menards defense. The only change defensively for Milwaukee is Gerardo Parra in center field. Same infield, Ramirez, Segura, Jeanette, and Lind, and Jonathan Lucroy back behind home plate.
So 2 men are out. Here is Matt Holliday, who drove in a couple of runs in the first inning yesterday. Holliday with 4 ribbies for the season. He's off to a good start at the plate. Dangerous power hitter, although the Cardinals don't hit a whole lot of home runs. They were last in the league last year, even though they won the division last season, their 4th consecutive year in the postseason. Dodgers, or rather the Cardinals, lost to the Giants in the LCS a year ago.
The Cardinals were 9th in runs scored last year. It's all about their pitching. Their defense was very good.
And they have improved their defense in the outfield with the addition of Hayward, who has won a couple of Gold Gloves. So they are expecting to keep runs to a minimum from the opposition as Fires misses badly, throws it over the back of Matt Holliday.
I'm not sure if that was a curveball or a changeup, but what's Bob Uecker say right there?
I was just looking over there to see.
Just a bit inside, right?
I was just looking over there to see what his reaction was. He's laughing over there, so he must have said something to that effect. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's only the first week. We're entering the second week of the season. We're already starting to think alike. It's a little scary at this point.
I know.
I do enjoy St. Louis, though, because we have a glass partition between us and the radio booth. So it's kind of fun to look over there and check out Uke and Joe Block. As Fires misses inside, Holliday draws a 2-out walk. And that'll bring up Mark Reynolds. So here we are. There's Matt LePay. Wave, Matt. There he is.
There's Joe.
And there's Joe. You can't miss Joe, especially when the sun is shining. And Uke next to Joe.
Matt getting ready for the big game tomorrow in Pittsburgh.
Very nice. He's without a mic right now, so.
I know. I'm not asking him to talk.
Saving his pipes.
I'm just getting everybody an idea why he's here.
Yep, Matt's going to be with you for the next month or so.
Yeah.
Had to relearn how to tie a tie today for the first time in a year, which is nice. I just leave my ties tied anyway.
It's like riding a bike.
Just slip it on like a noose. Brewers are headed to Pittsburgh for a 3-game series against the Pirates before returning to Miller Park. Nice little homestand coming up next week. Peralta stays hot. Johnny Peralta swinging the bat very well. Holliday's going to take off, and he's going to make it to third. Chris Davis bobbled in left field. And suddenly Davis is having a little trouble in the outfield in this series. That is going to be an error that allows Holliday to third base.
Yeah, Brewers been a bit shaky defensively. And Chris had an error on the last homestand. And with a bobble here, he allows Holliday to get to third base. Yeah, pitch away from Peralta. He hooks it out there into left field. Chris takes his eye off of it, and Holliday able to get into third base on the bobble. Holliday pretty much conceding he was going to stay at second until he saw the ball get away from Davis.
That's good base running. First and third now with 2 away. Here is Mark Reynolds. Fires having a tough time finding the curveball here early in this first inning.
And that's never good news. I mean, he's got to have that good repertoire of 3 pitches, the changeup, the curveball to go with the fastball. Got to find that pitch. Got to keep going to it.
A better one that time, but the count is 2 balls and no strikes. Now, while they were teammates last year, Reynolds certainly knows Fires and knows what he throws. He's never faced him. Reynolds is in there for Matt Adams today. Nothing really on the matchup that would indicate why the change. Adams had only had 3 at-bats against Fires and was 1 for 3, so nothing statistically there, but
got to keep your bench players sharp, particularly a guy like Reynolds. I mean, you can't have him sit on the bench too long without a start. He's got the kind of a swing where he needs to get at bats.
Reynolds making his second start for the Cardinals. Had a start against Cincinnati in their last series back on Sunday. Popped him up, long run. Braun, Lind, Jeanette all watch it bounce off the tarp down there. Cardinals will welcome in the Reds tomorrow. Cincinnati will be coming from Chicago. And then St. Louis next week goes to Washington for 3 and then to Milwaukee, a weekend series at Miller Park for Matheny and the Redbirds. 24th, 25th, 26th of April, as the Brewers continue their run through the National League Central Division. 2-2 with 2 away and 2 men on. Man, he got him. There's the curveball, and Fiers says, finally. Had it when he needed it. A called strike 3. Reynolds is out. First K for Fiers, and he strands 2 on base. A walk and a single in the first. Redbirds cannot score. Here come the Brewers in the second. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi today. Lackey back to work. Adam Lind will step in, take strike 1. Lind yesterday was 0 for 5, his first game as a Brewer where he did not reach base safely. He's had a great start to the year. He is 10 for 29 in his first 8 games. 10 hits, 29 at-bats, has a home run.
He's shown good plate coverage. I mean, shooting the ball all over the field, line to line.
And he rolls over that one. Deep is Wong at second. He bobbles, and Lind is going to reach.
Well, he's having a tough time.
That is the 3rd error of the series for Colton Wong.
I mean, you're talking about pretty routine plays, too. We're not talking about tough efforts. Tough chances. I mean, that was about as routine as it gets. He just takes his eye off of it. And Lind able to get in there safely on the E4. Boy. Trying to be a little bit too quick and lost the handle on it.
Colton Wong was pretty vocal after the Cardinals home opener Monday. He made 2 errors. He said, I lost that game for us. Both of the errors he committed led to runs, and he took it upon himself. Wainwright pitched that game. The Brewers and Matt Garza beat Wainwright and the Cardinals. Brewers also committed 2 errors on Monday. So pretty shoddy defense here to start the year, at least from the second base position of St. Louis. Matt Carpenter committed an error yesterday for the Cardinals. But, typically they are as tight as anyone defensively.
Yeah, last year they ranked amongst league leaders in defense, 4th in the league as far as fielding percentage goes, and it's basically the same group of guys in the infield.
Aramis Ramirez out in front, and a pop-up, foul territory. Molina wants it, and he's got it for the first out of the inning. Yadier Molina catching the day game after a night game. He's lost so much weight. He said he wanted to be healthier, wanted to take some weight off his body to protect his knees a little bit. Dropped 30 pounds from the end of last season to the beginning of this season.
Well, he's always caught day games after night games. Backup catcher for the Cardinals doesn't get much playing time unless he gets hurt.
That's a good gig. Tony Cruz is that guy.
Got to figure out. You got to get a hobby though. You got to figure out what you're going to do during the game.
There he is. He was away from the club briefly on paternity leave. Just returned to the active roster Monday. Missed the Cincinnati series. Chris Davis with a man on. Lind reaching on an error. And that's a strike in there.
Lind is only 32 years old. I mean, he's been around so long, you figure he'd be a little bit older than that. And probably in the best shape of his career.
Davis still looking for his first home run of the season. And there's another strike. Boy, Lackey is pouring them in here, Rock. He's thrown 16 pitches, 14 of those 16 for strikes.
He's got good movement on all of his pitches. He sinks his fastball. He's got a good slider. He'll throw a changeup. Been around a long time.
Just missed.
He knows that trying to be too fine and walking batter is never a good thing.
The Brewers have only hit 3 home runs this season. Lineup designed for the long ball, and Davis waves and misses. He chased one. So a strikeout for Lackey. Hit Lack and K. 2 outs in the inning.
And Lackey with a big arsenal of pitches. That looked like a cut fastball. Kind of a cutter, slider type pitch. He's got a circle changeup. A curveball, kind of a slurvy curveball, and mid 90s or low 90s fastball.
Lackey traded to the Cardinals from the Red Sox last year. He's in the final year of his contract, which was a 6-year deal. He originally signed with Boston. He went from the Angels to the Red Sox. Scooter Gennett fouls one away. And like a lot of expiring contracts, the Cardinals are hoping that Lackey will want to re-sign with St. Louis.
19-9 was Lackey, and was it 2007?
Yeah, that was his lone All-Star season. Finished 3rd in the Cy Young Award voting that year. His best year. That was the year CC Sabathia won it, of the Indians. And then remember, CC came to the Brewers the next season in 08. From Abilene, Texas. Northwest Texas. One ball, one strike. And it's outside for a ball. There's a lot of mesquite rolling across the highways in Abilene, Texas.
Is that right?
Pretty flat. And the wind always howls.
You're familiar with it? Pretty
familiar.
good? Yeah.
I went to college 1 semester in Abilene. I couldn't survive 1 semester. Ground ball to the right side. Wong, a little redemption there, makes a nice play to end the inning. It was a Wong error that led to the first base runner. Makes up for it there.
No score as we move to the bottom of the second inning. And of course, Carlos Gomez not with the team right now. Unlikely he'll be with them at least through the weekend as he's going back to Milwaukee to be reevaluated for that strained right hamstring. Told me today he's hoping that sometimes it's that pain not as bad as how you feel, but he'll get it all checked out this afternoon. One thing Ron Renicky really doesn't want from the rest of his guys, though, is to try to do too much to make up in the loss of Carlos Gomez right now. He said they kind of fell into that trap at the tail end of last month of last season. He does not want that to continue right now, especially after the slow start. Just remain within yourselves and do what you're capable of doing.
All right, Craig, thanks. And it is certainly a big loss. Gomez is an all-star starter. He is virtually irreplaceable with all that he does. And, Rock, you made a good point in our Brewers Live pregame show about Gomez's presence in the clubhouse and during batting practice, the energy that he brings every day. That's a significant loss for a team going through a tough time.
I'm going to miss him. I mean, around the batting cage. I mean, sometimes you show at the ballpark and, players and, broadcasters, sometimes you feel a little down, but you see Gomez just flying around like the Tasmanian devil every day. It makes you feel good and you start getting pumped up a little bit.
He is the top performer in the wins above replacement category, and by most of the major advanced metrics, Gomez is the top player, top performer, and that's why he's been an all-star starter, twice an all-star.
I think that the Brewers offense has been putting too much pressure on themselves ever since that sweep at the hands of the Rockies. Yeah. I think that's been the case, and I think, Ron Renicky mentioning that with respect to losing Gomez, but you can speak to that just since the first series of the season. Jonathan Lucroy certainly, Aramis Ramirez, guys, trying to do a little bit too much. I mean, it's an old stale saying, but you just got to go up there, relax, and if you don't get it done, you have to be confident that the guy behind you will be able to get it done.
Ball and 2 strikes to John Jay, leading the way here for the Cardinals in the second. That one's off the hands a little bit, and Braun is there for the out. Yeah, the Brewers, unfortunately, the memories are still pretty strong from the collapse last year, but Lucroy, Ramirez, Braun, all struggling offensively to start the year. Those are your bell cows. Those are the guys that have to pick up the slack offensively, and then everybody else can kind of fit in their role. And I think what we're seeing at the beginning of the season is exactly what we saw at the end of last season, where the ancillary players are maybe trying to do a little too much. Now you've gotten good starts from Gene Segura and Adam Lind. So there are base runners. I think statistically the Brewers are holding up okay. There have been plenty of base runners. Last night was a great example of that. But not producing a lot of runs, and certainly not producing a lot of home runs to start the year.
Yeah, and that typically is the way the Brewers score their runs, with the home run ball. I mean, it's never been a team that's going to hit for a high average with runners in scoring position. They rely on slugging percentage, the extra base hits, home runs, doubles, triples. It hasn't come for them yet.
Yadier Molina at an 0-2 count. Fiers does have a strikeout to go along with a walk here so far. Well, the plus-minus game doesn't really apply in Major League Baseball like it does in other sports, especially basketball, but it is a little alarming that the Brewers have been outscored by 22 runs coming into play today. Molina into center field, lots of outs in the air. Boy, you could bet Fiers would love to pitch here all the time.
Yeah, he is a fly ball pitcher. Hey, the Brewers return home for a 4-game series against the Reds. That's Monday, April 20th through Thursday the 23rd as the division rivals collide for the first time this year. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com. Outscored 22 runs, but 10 of those came on opening day in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and then a 10-2 game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so a little deceiving.
Two away for Colton Wong. Wong finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting last year. Jacob deGrom the Mets pitcher won that award. Billy Hamilton of the Reds was second. Colton Wong was third. He had 12 homers last season. He was a big part of their success in the second half.
Hit a lot of homers. I mean, he got some surprising power for a second baseman.
He's off to a shaky start defensively, though. Committed 3 errors in this series alone. Overall, St. Louis has committed 6 errors this year. And Wong has 3 of those, and they've all come in the last 4 days. Matt Carpenter has 2, and Lance Lynn, the pitcher, has 1. That high riding fastball of Fiers.
Even when he's down in the count, you know, he hides that baseball so well, and hitters really can't pick it up very quickly, and he's able to get it by him, even on a 2-1 count.
See what he does here. 2-2. Up there again. Wong sends it out to Braun, and the fly ball outs keep coming. Fiers has 6 outs, 5 of them in the air. No score after 2. Louis, Missouri, beautiful Busch Stadium on the banks of the Mississippi. We're close to the banks of the Mississippi. Our Carsoup.com trivia today: which 4-time Gold Glove Award winner was drafted by the Brewers in the 8th round of '91? 4-time Gold Glove Award winner. So drafted in '91. What was your last year in the big leagues, Rock?
90.
A year after.
Mm-hmm.
Were you locked in on the draft in '91, the year after you were out of the game?
No, I was completely detached from baseball, just horrified that I was done. What am I going to do now?
They made you quit, didn't they?
Yeah. Pink slip in the mail. That's a good sign you're done.
Mm-hmm. Here's Gerardo Parra. Speaking of Gold Gloves, he's got a couple on his mantle. And he hits in the 8th spot. It's been the musical chairs of the 8th spot, and the extra chair is the one that nobody wants. It's a very tough spot in the order to hit. Gene Segura was talking about hitting 8th earlier today, and we talked to him in the spring as well. He can't stand that position in the batting order. He was happy to do whatever he needs to do for the club, but you got to have a little different makeup to hit 8th in a National League lineup and batting in front of the pitcher.
Yeah, you got to know when to be patient. You have to know when to expand your strike zone. Parra, the 4th different number 8 hitter the Brewers have used already this year.
Well, that ball's hit hard to right, down a base hit. Gerardo Parra with the first hit of the day for Milwaukee. His bat's starting to come alive a little bit. Had a hit off Lance Lynn yesterday and a clean single to right here today.
He can hit. I mean, he's got some pop in his bat. There's a fastball 4-seamer from Lackey that missed its spot right down the middle of the plate and able to center on it and line it into right field.
All right, so it gives Fiers a chance to get a bunt down to advance a runner. That'll be foul.
I think that the answer to the trivia question is in the ballpark today.
1991 draft, 4 Gold Gloves. Was he out of the University of Michigan?
I don't know where he went to school.
So our hints aren't helpful for each other.
Well, I don't even know if it's the right answer, but that's what my guess is.
Well, I'm looking forward to the big reveal. Fiers pops it up. Reynolds lays out, but it bounces out of his glove, and now Parra is going to be out at second. What a tough break there.
Yeah, not much Parra could do about that. That's a good effort by Reynolds. He got a glove on it, but Molina able to get the out at second base.
Put out goes 1 to 2 to 6.
Now you see that ball up in the air. I mean, you're talking about being in no man's land. Parra easy out at second, and it was a good thing that Mike Fiers was running hard down the line, or it might have been a double play. If he just pops it up and gives up, that would have been 2.
Well, so Fiers replaces Parra at first base. On the fielder's choice, back to the top of the order here, and Segura. Brewers have 1 hit. They've had a man reach on an error. Lackey has a couple of strikeouts. Big John Lackey, 6'6". Used to be a very hard thrower when he first came up with the Angels. He and Ron Renicky were with the Angels together. Segura lines one to right. That's down for a hit. So a couple of hits to right field in this inning. Parra pulled his. Segura to the opposite field. 2 on, 1 out for Lucroy.
Didn't see him do too much of that. I hate to keep going back to that, but what a difference in Segura so far this year than all of last year. Staying back nicely, and although he did get jammed, because he's staying back and not drifting, able to hit it hard enough in the right field. Big adjustment Segura's made from last year to this year.
So first and second now. The pitcher Fiers is the runner at second. Lucroy takes a ball down and in. Jonathan lined out to right his first time up. Hit it sharply, but right at Hayward. And he got it on his hands. A pop-up. The infield fly rule is the call. Runners at their own risk. Lucroy is out, and the second out of the inning. So 2 outs for Ryan Braun. Now this is what Rock was talking about last inning, and the fact that the Brewers have had some base runners, and these are the moments with your big boys at the plate. You got to cash in.
Yeah, this is where you got to get it done when your middle of your order is coming up with men in scoring position. Ronnie came through in last night's ball game in the 9th inning.
Yeah, had a hit off Rosenthal that delivered the second Brewers run. The Brewers actually brought the tying run to the plate in Adam Lind, but Rosenthal would slam the door to pick up his 3rd save already. He's saved 3 of the 4 wins for the Cardinals. That RBI yesterday was Braun's 2nd of the season. Missed a couple of starts on the first homestand in that series against Colorado. Oh, called strike. Braun not pleased with that. He quickly snapped back at John Hirschbeck.
Well, that's about as perfect a pitch as you can throw, right on that outside corner down. Look at Molina. I think that has a little bit to do with the fact that Molina's sitting up out there, and looks like Fox Tracks had it just a little bit off the outside corner.
And now Braun chases. Lackey throws him a slider. Down he goes, and the inning is over. And the Brewers strand 2. Brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. And a reminder that during the month of April, Fox Sports Wisconsin wants you to share your excitement and passion for Wisconsin sports using the hashtag #AprilMadeMeDoIt. Send us a photo of your family decked out in team gear or your face painted in team colors. You get the idea. Just as long as it shows your enthusiasm for your hometown team. And follow @FS Wisconsin on Twitter to find out how you could win an April Made Me Do It prize pack. Got some Brewers fans in the crowd here today. In the sea of red, there's an occasional blue spot. The old ball and glove logo. Good to have them here. Good setting here in St. Louis. Beautiful day for baseball. Series is on the line today. The Brewers won the opener Monday, spoiling the home opener for the Cardinals. St. Louis won last night. These teams took Tuesday off. So Fiers back to work. He'll have the pitcher Lackey leading off. Fiers has given up a walk and a single. Brewers have committed an error. Mike stranded 2 in the first. And has retired 4 in a row now. He's got 9, 1, and 2 coming to the plate. And Lackey in a 1-2 count reaches out, fouls it away. Brewers will turn over their rotation tomorrow. Jimmy Nelson will be back up after his terrific performance at Miller Park. against the Pirates. There's a called strike 3. There's a good curveball from Fiers.
It will be interesting to see what adjustments the Pirates make and the adjustments that Jimmy Nelson makes after his great appearance against the Pirates his first time out. You know they're going to be gunning for that curveball tomorrow night. I think it surprised them in that start at Miller Park.
Yeah, career high for strikeouts for Nelson against Pittsburgh in his first start of the season. It'll be Loesch to follow, and then Garza. So Nelson, Locke tomorrow, the lefty Jeff Locke, and then Loesch against Vance Worley. Garza will get Garrett Cole, who's coming off his first win of the season. One gone, top of the order for Matt Carpenter. Flew out to left his first time up. Pretty light schedule in the big leagues today on a Thursday, just 6 games. 2 day games besides ours here. The Twins are hosting the Royals. Minnesota beat them yesterday for the first time. Kansas City is now 7-1. They gave that game up late, and the Twins have a 5-3 lead, as you can see, in the bottom of the 4th. So 2 day games, 4 night games. And there is a West Coast game out in San Francisco tonight. Carpenter down the line, slicing. That is foul. Just foul.
A good pitch by Fiers, a little bit upstairs, but Carpenter just sticks the bat out and nearly found that left field line. Well, he covers the plate so well and hits the ball hard to all fields.
Yeah, sliced and hit the retaining wall. That's blocked from our view. So a little more foul than I thought. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the air, center field. Parra will ease over. And Carpenter is 0 for 2, and the fly ball outs keep coming for Mike Fiers.
Yep, no ground ball outs so far. 2 strikeouts, the rest of them fly ball outs, which is typical for Mike Fiers.
Two up, 2 down. Here is Hayward. Hayward is from the Atlanta area, grew up a huge Braves fan, and his best friend all through the Braves minor league system and on into the big leagues was Freddie Freeman. So that was a real stinger that he was traded away from Atlanta, but he settled in nicely here to start. He said he loves St. Louis. He was overwhelmed by the opening day ceremonies here, had no idea that the Cardinals went all out as they do here. And seeing some of the legendary Cardinals that were here.
Yeah, Freeman in the last year of his contract, the Cardinals are hoping that he likes it here and is impressed with the surroundings and signs a long-term contract.
That's some great names. Red Schoendienst was here opening day. Willie McGee, Ozzie Smith, Tony La Russa was here. Lou Brock was in attendance. It was funny because Hayward here in St. Louis, when they introduce him, they bring him out on the back of pickup trucks, and so they go all the way around the warning track, and then they get off the truck, and then they go down the line to line up. And Hayward ran right by all of the legendary Cardinals in their red blazers, and Mike Matheny cut him off. Matheny had already been introduced. He stopped him. He goes, "Hey, Jason, you need to go back and shake the hands of the great Cardinals." And he was embarrassed, but he said he's glad the manager did that. Ran all the way back and paid homage to them.
Yeah, some great names in Cardinal history. Whitey Herzog was in attendance.
Yeah.
Red Schoendienst, 91 years old.
He doesn't look it.
Yeah, I know. He looks pretty good, doesn't he?
Looks like he's in great shape. Heck, we used to see Red Schoendienst in uniform hitting fungos up until a couple of years ago. Parra on the chase. He's got it. And Mike Fiers doing exactly what he wants here early. Fly ball out to plenty. We are scoreless after 3 innings at Busch. Adam Lind will lead off, and he's in our DraftKings player to watch. A reminder, you can play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball and Bill Schroeder. Enter promo code CREW. You see those numbers he had against John Lackey?
I did. They're
I
good.
thought that's
aren't
why
they?
you chose Adam Lind as our DraftKings guy today.
You know, I was charged with choosing the player for that particular promotion, but that hadn't happened the last couple of days.
Oh, really? You've been taken off that responsibility.
I
huh?
have. It's just as much of a surprise to me as it was to you.
Well, it was a lot of fun. Good choice. Whoever made that choice. Adam Lind got some history against Lackey in the American League East. Playing for the Blue Jays. Lind traded from Toronto to Milwaukee this offseason. And, of course, Lackey is a member of the Boston Red Sox. Hit sharply, backhanded by Reynolds. Lackey's there for him. Nice play over there by Mark Reynolds. Reynolds showed a much better glove last season than I imagined that he would defensively. I never thought he was a liability defensively, but he actually ended up being a plus first baseman last season.
Made a lot of nice plays. I mean, being a third baseman, he was very good at making that throw to second base on a double play on a ground ball hit to him. Got off to a terrific start with the bat, you know, with the Brewers. That great month of April that the Brewers were able to put together.
Here's Aramis Ramirez, and he cuts and misses.
But as the season went on, just didn't hit enough to warrant being in the everyday lineup every day. That's why Jonathan Lucroy was over there quite a bit, trying to get some offense out of that first base spot. The Brewers are hoping that Adam Lind is going to solve that problem.
And the same pitch with the same result. Ramirez is down in the count 0 for 2 against Lackey.
And they call it a cutter, a cut fastball from Lackey.
Well, like most good pitchers, he's reinvented himself. That's why he's still pitching 12 years later in the big leagues. It's gone from the power to more of the finesse. He still has a good fastball. He'll get it up there 92, 93 miles an hour. That's a good run on a fastball, but he uses his breaking stuff well as well. And he has a ton of postseason experience and a ton of postseason success. Pitched a gem last year against the Dodgers in the playoffs. Little lazy pop-up, long run for Wong, and he makes a basket catch. Terrific play by Colton Wong. He was the only one who had a chance at that one.
Yeah, a little jam shot off the bat of Ramirez, and Wong, who was shaded up the middle, had a long way to go. Over the shoulder and two-hands it for the out. A nice running catch by Colton Wong. See him shaded up the middle just a little bit, making his play a little bit tougher. And you're right, he's the only one that had a shot at it.
2 outs here is Davis. And might have shattered his bat. Yes, he did. You think about John Lackey, and the same goes for Lance Lynn, who's a little earlier in his career, but you know, Lance Lynn has made a ton of postseason starts for St. Louis. They have so much experience. Lynn has appeared in 23 career postseason games. John Lackey made a couple of starts for the Cardinals last postseason.
He's got 15 games under his belt postseason.
Lackey has a career postseason ERA of 3.08.
Actually 21 games for Lackey.
21 games, 18 starts.
Right.
For John Lackey. Davis, and that's off the glove of Peralta and into left field, a base hit. 2-out single for Chris Davis. And the Brewers with their third hit. All of the hits have been singles.
And look, he took a little off that pitch, and Chris Davis able to wade back. Look at the balance in his swing for Chris. Been seeing the baseball well to start the season. Putting together some good at bats, and that one right off the end of the glove of Johnny Peralta.
Gives Scooter Gennett a swing here in the fourth with a man on. Gennett grounded to second in the second. It was a nice play by Colton Wong. Took a hit away from Gennett. Scooter's been out early every day for early BP or optional BP, as was the case today. Trying to work through some things at the plate.
And that batting cage down by the clubhouse has been busy. A lot of the Brewers have been in there early on. First come to the ballpark before batting practice. Down there with Darnell Coles and John Shelby trying to get some extra swings.
Now Renicky felt he had to pinch hit for Gennett last night in a matchup scenario, and not where the skipper wants to be this early in the season with Gennett. But last night the numbers showed that it was necessary. Renicky's gone on the record to say he hopes Gennett can handle left-handers along with right-handers. He's proven he can hit right-handers. But he wants him to be a player that's out there every day. And I think if that was the case, Gennett might end up in the leadoff spot in the absence of Gomez. Can't make that move right now, though.
Yeah, but right now he's having a difficult time against right-handers, let alone lefties. Starts to get the confidence against right-handed batters. You know he will. He's always been able to hit right-handed pitching very well. And once he starts with that, then you make that transition into the left-handers.
Gennett with just 4 hits on the season. He is 4 for 22. So I'm sure he's carrying a little of that burden, knowing that the everyday second base job was his to start the year. Been in a platoon with Ricky Weeks the last couple of seasons and had a lot of success in that platoon. So his career splits are overwhelming, but remember, he's getting very few at-bats against lefties in that platoon with Gennett, or rather with Weeks. 1-2 pitch is up and away. 2-2. Davis with a 2-out single. Now Scooter hanging tough.
Yeah, a little bit out in front of that high breaking pitch. I think Scooter would like to have that one back. You see him moving around in that batter's box, thinking he had a pretty good pitch to hit.
Lackey a long pause. The 2-2. Jeanette stays alive. Well, he's got a good at bat going here. Got down 2 strikes, able to fight some pitches off. In survival mode with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Cardinal outfield is deep to the pull side for Jeanette. They're playing fairly shallow to the opposite field side. And Jeanette off the end of the bat dumps one into right field. There you go. Scooter Jeanette with a single. Back-to-back hits off Lackey in the 4th.
That's just a good blue collar at bat right there for Scooter Jeanette. There's a couple of swings that didn't look all that great on, but able to get a pitch right there that he felt comfortable with. That cut fastball down and in, and Scooter able to drop the head of the bat on it and dump it into right field. A little bit off the end, but what a battle he put on with John Lackey, and he won it.
Well, those are the kind of at-bats that will give you a jolt of confidence if you're lacking. Well done. 2 on now. Here's Gerardo Parra, who singled off Lackey, had the first Brewers hit back in the 3rd inning. Brewers stranded 2 last inning, left 1 man on in the 2nd.
Outfield very shallow in center and left, but very deep in right. Jason Hayward way back there, a base hit over there, and Davis scores easily.
Yeah, and he'll be running on the crack of the bat with 2 outs. 2-0. Parra's got it in his favor. Got the pitcher spot due up next. There is a base open. It's not the base that you'd prefer if you're a pitcher, but there is a base open if you want to be careful with Parra. To him another breaking ball, and Parra swings and misses 2-1.
Now this is in that one of those situations for the number 8 hitter where you have to be a little bit more aggressive than you ordinarily would be, because it looks like he's not concerned about walking Parra. 2-0 curveball, giving him a lot of room down that left field line.
1st and 2nd for the Crew. And a fastball snuck it right by him at 90 miles an hour. 2-2 now.
Yeah, he was looking for another curveball.
So Lackey's got Parra thinking a little bit at the plate. So now you figure Lackey will be on the attack. 2-2. 2 outs. Davis at 2nd, Jeanette at 1st. And Parra, little half swing, he goes, and the inning is over. And the Brewers strand a pair, and they'll have their pitcher leading off.
base for Milwaukee. Now, Adam Lynn's not vocal, usually in a good mood, but he is a different cat, according to Ron Renicky, the Brewers manager. He says he's out there a little bit, but he enjoys different personalities. He thinks differently than a lot of the other guys, but that probably helps him in the batter's box. But sometimes on defense, Renicky says he has to look out there and wondering why he's kicking his feet around out there. He wants to yell out there and say, hey, get ready, but he says he always is. He can adjust to anything. He said some guys can't. And I will say this, though, if you get to know Adam Lynn, nothing seems to bother this guy. He's always got a smile on his face, but he is a little different cat out there, off to a great start in a Brewer uniform.
Yeah, he's got the perfect temperament for a Major League Baseball player. Just kind of steady as he goes. Nothing rattles him.
Yeah. He's able to focus himself very, very well. Doesn't really get too worked up what's going on around him, the fans or anything else that might distract a lot of guys.
He's had a successful career. He's hoping to have an injury-free season this season. That's really been the only thing that's kept him down is a back injury.
I think being off that AstroTurf is going to help him quite a bit.
Yeah, playing for the Blue Jays, the Rogers Center. It's the only AstroTurf field remaining. That kind of turf, anyway. They have the turf in St. Pete with the Tampa Bay Rays. They're having all kind of trouble in Toronto now. Did you see Major League Baseball? They're actually sending a group to go check out that turf. I guess there's a temporary turf there, and it's got all kind of problems.
Yeah.
Bad hops and seams, and eventually they have a plan in Toronto to replace the entire surface once the football team leaves, the CFL team. The Argos, they're going to make it a natural grass field, but they're going to have to blast up a lot of concrete under that field to do that. It's quite a project.
Yeah, we were in Toronto last year, and it just didn't look very good, and the playing surface a little bit ununiform, if you will. I mean, a lot of crazy bounces, seams all over the place. And
2 balls, 2 strikes on Matt Holliday, leading off this fourth. We're getting close to the day where we might have a second team in Canada. As it used to be with Montreal, there's a chance Montreal could actually have a team in the big leagues.
That's a good town.
Yes, it is. A lot of fun in Montreal. Broken bat on a hop. Nice play, Segura. And a good throw to get Holliday. Nice quick hands by the Brewer shortstop. First out of the inning and the first ground ball out of the game for Mike Fiers.
But it was kind of a line drive, wasn't it? A one hopper to Segura, and Segura, who has been having some throwing issues so far this year, able to put that one right on the money. There are hitting slumps and there are fielding slumps. And if you're a big leaguer, you don't expect either one of those to last too long.
Fiers starts Peralta with a hook. Gets ahead of him. Peralta typically swings at that first pitch. And he's not up there long, is he? Hacking away. He's off to a great start and coming off a big year for the Cardinals last year. 21 homers. Cardinals haven't had a guy start at shortstop back-to-back opening days since the David Eckstein era. Going back nearly a decade.
Yeah.
Been a revolving door over there at second base. 0-2 to Peralta. Last time the Cardinals had the same guy start at shortstop in back-to-back years, 05 and 06 with Eckstein. A World Series MVP at one point, Eckstein. Here's a 1-2. He doesn't bite. Good try. 2-2 the count.
Yeah, Peralta's one of those guys, a shortstop with not great range, but if he can get a glove on it, not only is he going to be able to make a play, decent arm, gets rid of it quickly, and he can hit some home runs.
He hit 21 last year. He was the first shortstop to lead the Cardinals in homers since going back into the late 1800s, as a matter of fact. Edgar Renteria matched that home run total as a shortstop one year, but the Cardinals didn't hit a lot of homers. And Peralta was their club leader. That ball's lined right to Segura. One shortstop to the other. Segura has had to deal with a couple of hot shots. 2 up, 2 down for Fiers.
Hey, this year Brewers fans will decide the season's 20th and final all-fan giveaway. Options include a knit cap, team scarf, trucker hat, duffel bag, and a Hank cereal bowl. Visit Brewers.com/fan vote to rank your favorites.
Is that a bowl for dogs, or is that just
no, it's a
for
cereal
anyone?
bowl.
Oh, I like that.
For humans.
I got to get one of those. Well, I'm sure a dog could use it too, right?
Then
you share it.
Then it's a dog bowl.
That's nice of Hank to offer up a cereal bowl for humans. Mark Reynolds with 2 away. And he blasts one foul. How's Hank doing? I haven't seen Hank. We saw him at spring training briefly.
Was he there opening day?
He's signing autographs during spring training.
Only command performances for Hank.
Here's a 1-1. And Reynolds slaps it into center field, a base hit. Sounded like it was down on the label a little bit, but Reynolds with the second Cardinal hit, the first hit since the first inning.
Yeah, it looked like the same pitch that struck him out his first time up. But this one up in his zone a little bit more. There's that curve ball that hung up around letter high, and Reynolds able to get enough of it to muscle it out into center field.
He was not going to be rung up again on that curveball. So that snaps a bit of a string for Fiers. He had retired 9 straight. Here's John Jay. No score. We play in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Jay on the first pitch sends one out for Parra. That's easy. Mike Fiers on his game here today at Busch Stadium. He's got 4 shutout on the board. We are scoreless in St. Louis. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Craig Cashon. Top of the 5th inning coming in our Carsoup.com trivia. Which 4-time Gold Glove Award winner drafted by the Brewers 8th round of the 91 draft? And the answer would be Mike Matheny, Michigan Wolverine. So you were right. I think you were right.
And so were you.
Was that who you were thinking?
Yeah, that's who I was
But you
thinking.
didn't know who I was thinking. You were thinking I was thinking something different.
I didn't know where he went to school. I'm sorry.
Mike Matheny's got a book out, by the way. Highly recommend it. I do not know the title of the book. But if you just Google Mike Matheny book, you'll find it, and I hear it's great. Those who have read it, it's a lot about how to handle youth sports from a coaching perspective, and it's pretty spot on.
Yeah,
I've heard him talk about it quite a bit, and he's shared a lot of the subject matter with us.
Sometimes parents can get a bit overzealous, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. As Fires strikes out to start the 5th inning.
It's all about having fun when kids are out there competing.
The name of the book I just remembered, Rock.
Oh, you just remembered.
Is the Matheny Manifesto.
You just remembered?
I just remembered that.
Good. Yeah.
It started in my left ear, and it started moving its way into my brain, and then it went to my mouth. The Matheny Manifesto.
Okay.
Mike says, I had to take a firm stance and a firm hand with the way things are going with amateur sports. So God bless him for that. Sometimes we make too much out of it, and we live through our children.
Vicariously through our kids, right? The competition.
Just let them have fun.
Shouldn't be that way, absolutely.
Let them have fun. The age of specialization is in some ways making sports better because kids are better at the actual sport, but it's making it a lot worse in much greater numbers because kids don't get to enjoy the sport.
I think that kids should play a lot of different sports because you never know what they're good at.
And high schools and middle schools should encourage multiple sports. So many high schools are trying to make it specialized and demanding so much time. Segura pops out for the second out. I think every high school athletic department ought to take a step back, and it doesn't just apply to sports either. It goes for theater or a choir or whatever. But
play an instrument.
Don't be so specialized.
Right.
You should be able to do a lot of things, and administrators should work with students and coaches to be able to.
Did you play an instrument when you were a kid?
No, but I wanted to.
Did you?
I always felt like in my high school, which was a decent-sized high school, that you pretty much had to choose. And if you didn't play football in Texas, I mean, you might as well go sit in the car. You were pretty well isolated. So I went the sports route. Shouldn't be that way. That was a pretty big soapbox I just got off.
Yeah, that was nice.
Sorry about that.
Got to a whole half inning almost.
It's a little pet peeve of mine. You know who is equally as fired up about that topic? J.J. Watt.
Yeah, good.
I had a conversation with him about that last December. I was like, man, you need to do something about that. Something like Mike Matheny and write a book.
That's a topic that I hit every time I go out and talk to youth groups or go out and speak to a group of people. I mean, that's something that's important to all of us.
2-1 to Lucroy, misses down and in. 3 balls and 1 strike to Jonathan Lucroy with 2 away in a scoreless game. First 3-ball count for John Lackey. Brewers have 4 hits, and all of them are singles. And there it is, first walk of the day. Lackey can't put an inning away again. Gave up a 2-out hit last inning. Matter of fact, 2 hits with 2 outs, and now a 2-out walk.
Yeah, Brewers have had a man on in every inning in the last couple of days except for 2. A 3-up, 3-down first for Lackey. 72 pitches as he works here in the 5th inning.
And that'll bring up Ryan Braun. The Brew Crew in need of a quick strike here. They need something big to happen. Each passing scoreless inning, or each inning with runners left stranded in these kind of numbers, that pressure starts to intensify for the offense. And Braun a little late on the fastball. Pop foul above the Cardinal dugout. Ryan dealt with the thumb injury last year, had surgery in the offseason to repair it. Didn't have the home run numbers he's accustomed to. He did hit 19, which was 3rd on the club on the Powerball home run leaderboard. Braun struck out his last time up. He chased a slider in the dirt. And he's down in the count 0-2.
Yeah, that's a very hittable pitch right there. That cutter, that's a mistake from John Lackey. And when Ryan Braun is on the top of his game and seeing the baseball well, he's going to drive that one somewhere. We've said that quite a bit in this series regarding Braun up at the plate. It's a little bit off right now.
I don't see what Lackey goes with here. Another breaking ball, and Braun shoots it back up the middle, a base hit. Well, that was a good piece of hitting there. Braun reaches down and serves one into center field, and 2 more base runners with 2 outs. And that'll give Adam Lind a shot here.
He missed the hanger, and then he hits this one. It's a pretty good pitch. Look at that. Right on the outside corner, down in the zone. And, Ryan Braun loves that pitch out away from him and handles the pitch down and away as well as any hitter in baseball. Rolls that one into center field. Likes to get those arms extended.
So Lind with 2 on and 2 out. Scoreless game in the 5th. Brewers have out hit the Cardinals 5-2. Fiers has been much more efficient than Lackey. Hoping his offense can give him some runs here. Cardinals do a little defensive shifting with Lind at the plate. They've got their shortstop Peralta shading the middle, and Wong is out in the grass. Wong committed an error on a Lind ground ball in the 2nd inning.
Seems like just about every hitter, Matt Holliday out there in left, is covering the line. It's almost as if John Jay saying, you cover where you're at to the line, I'll take everything else. Even with Adam Lind up there at the plate. You can understand a little bit with a right-handed batter, but a lefty.
1 ball, 1 strike. Lind trying to get him running here. Lucroy at second. Braun with great speed at first. And a defensive swing. Didn't mean to do it. Way outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody has more experience against John Lackey than Adam Lind. This is his 31st career at bat against Lackey. .15 for 30 now in his career against John Lackey in the American League East.
1 base hit here, and the Brewers are going to probably take a lead. John Lucroy at second base, not the greatest of speed. Hit one to right or left, I think you have a run.
Best arm is in right field in Hayward.
He's deep.
And Braun able to get a sizable lead over at first. Now Molina wants to chat with Lackey.
Hayward's deep. John Jay very shallow in center field. And Matt Holliday shallow and over toward the left field line.
Gives you a good look at how shallow Jay is. Well, Lind would love to send him running here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Lind popped it up. Going back is Peralta, drifting back. Jay's coming in, and Peralta's got it. And the inning is over, and the Brewers strand 2 more base runners. Still scoreless in St. Louis.
Hotel and Casino. No scores. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Brewers Community Foundation harnesses the pride, passion, and commitment of our fans, players, and other supporters to positively impact the community. Our collective efforts support nonprofits that are making a critical difference in our community. Thanks for being part of the team. Talking to Kyle Loesch the other day about Mike Fiers, and he was raving about Fiers' strong suit being his consistency. He says he always gives his team a chance to win. That ERA last year on the season, just over 2 against the Cardinals in his career, 1.30. Keeping this team very much in this game right now, allowing just 2 hits, no scores. We go to the Cardinals half of the fifth.
Yeah, and Kyle Loesch, the Yoda of the Brewers starting rotation. And the players that Loesch speaks of have the same kind of conversations about Loesch and what a great leader that he is. Loesch will be on the mound Saturday in Pittsburgh. Yadier Molina leading off for St. Louis. And a shot back up the middle and a base hit. So Molina with his first hit. He's 1 for 2. Cardinals now have 3 hits, but they are all singles. And this one is the first leadoff hit and leadoff base runner for St. Louis.
Yep, all singles. Every hit, all 8 hits have been singles today for both teams.
Got to bring up Colton Wong. Got the pitcher Lackey due up next. It's a key out for Mike Fiers. Don't want to have Lackey up there with a chance to bunt runners over. And it's back up the middle. Right there, Segura going to the bag. Out, throw to first, and it is in time. What a double play.
Boy, that's sweet by Gene Segura. Well, with a shift on for Wong, there's no way Jeanette's going to be able to get there. And Gene Segura able to get that one hopper. Look at where Jeanette is. He's not going to be able to get there. He takes it himself. He's got the momentum going toward first and get a very speedy base runner in Colton Wong. That's a heck of a play by Gene Segura.
Columbia St. Mary's worth another look. And then Lind throwing the ball around the infield almost took his head off. He wasn't looking for it. Well, it's amazing how he changes direction so fast.
Very quick, and he's always able to get his feet underneath him.
That was something. Colton Wong can fly as well. So 2 outs on the double play ball, and Lackey the pitcher at the plate. Chance to be a quick inning here for Mike Fiers. And Lackey pops it up, foul territory. Jeanette, long way to go. Lind, and that bounces off the tarp. There's a lot of room over there in foul territory. Until you get to the deep outfield reaches, and then it tightens up.
Which makes it even a better pitcher's ballpark. A lot of foul territory.
No balls, 2 strikes to count. And Lackey takes a called strike 3. 7-pitch inning for Mike Fiers. Big double play, beautifully done by Gene Segura. No score. Brewers are coming up. We're headed to the 6th. Full Thursday afternoon here in St. Louis, final game of this series. And Scooter Gennett back in there somewhere.
Yeah, we were talking about that good at bat he had his last time up. The result in the base hit was an 8-pitch at bat, and John Lackey got ahead of him quickly, but then the fight was on. The defensive mode for Scooter Gennett. Fastballs, cutters, changeups. Scooter saw everything he had until pitch number 8, a cutter down and in. That was a good pitch to foul off that changeup. Now there's the pitch we were talking about. Down in the strike zone, the cutter, and he dumps it into right field for a base hit. That was a heck of an at-bat. That's the kind of an at-bat can turn your whole approach up there at the plate around.
Jimmy John's delivery of the game. You usually think about the delivery from a pitcher, but delivered a single into right field, and we'll mark that one and see if it gets Gennett going at the plate a little bit.
Yeah, the toughest pitch that he was able to foul off on that was a couple before the base hit, the changeup off the outside corner. Pretty good pitch for Lackey that Scooter was able to fight off.
Brewers will have Ramirez lead off here in the 6th inning. Gennett due up 3rd. Ramirez, Davis, and Gennett. Ramos's struggles against Lackey continue. He is now 1 for 11 career against Lackey. Normally hits the Cardinals pretty well overall. He's been a Cardinal nemesis through the years in his time with the Pirates and then with the Cubs.
And there was some talk. I think we were talking about perhaps might have seen Jimenez over at third base today, and because of the matchup with Lackey. Day game after a night game, but Ramirez back in the lineup.
Now Ramirez and Ron Renicky have put together a plan to get him his days off. The problem for Jimenez right now is the Brewers have had a number of days off already. But I'm sure you'll see Jimenez shortly. Here's a 2-1, and Ramos pulls one foul. Just missed the bag at third. Ramirez 0 for 2, both outs in the air, and he lays off one. It's been an open door on that outside corner with home plate umpire John Hirschbeck today. Both pitchers have exploited it well. Had some hitters shaking their heads. Count is full now. Got him. And the frustration starting to build a little bit with Ramirez.
Had a pretty good pitch to hit right there. That's what he's upset about. Not much you can do about a pitch that's right on the corner or a very tough pitch, but this is one that Ramirez, when he's going well, he's going to be driving somewhere. That pitch that had a little bit of a tail to it. Started right down the middle of the plate and comes up empty.
So one away. 5th strikeout for Lackey. I beg your pardon, his 6th K. Chris Davis, a strikeout victim in the 2nd. Davis came back with a single to left in the 4th inning. Oh, big cut. Follow through, got a piece of Molina, I think. Quickly 0-2 on Davis. And down he goes. Lackey with back-to-back Ks. 7 strikeouts. And 2 quick outs here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, Brewers just can't figure out that cut fastball today. And that brings us to today's Tavern of the Game winner, Oak Central and Oakfield, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. 414-902-4572. They get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Lackey pouring in the strikes here, gets ahead of Jeanette. Little off-speed offering. Scooter 1 out of 2. The Brewers have 5 hits. They've stranded 7. 5 hits and a batter reached on an error, Adam Lind. Lackey's walked 1. On the ground toward the hole, Wong is over. And that is a quick inning for John Lackey. 1, 2, 3. When we head to the bottom of the 6th, we are still scoreless. Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Well, we are headed to the bottom of the 6th inning. Got some Brewers fans enjoying this one. That's a Sun Smart headwear right there. In many ways. Cardinals coming to bat. Mike Fiers has pitched a beautiful ball game through the first 5. And now the real test comes. 3rd time through the batting order. Matt Carpenter leads off. Carpenter, Hayward, and Holiday. 1, 2, and 3 in the St. Louis lineup. Fiers with 3 strikeouts. He's punched out the pitcher Lackey twice. Most of his outs have come in the air.
Yep, 2 ground ball outs. One of those a double play ball.
Coming off a 7-pitch inning in the 5th. Pitch count in great shape as he works here in the 6th. And Carpenter in the air, right center. Long run. Ryan Braun can't get there. That's to the wall. Carpenter on his way to second, and he'll pull up there with a double. Tough to keep that guy down.
Yeah.
A leadoff double here in the 6th.
Yeah, fly out to left, a fly out to center, now a double to right. And he shoots the ball all over the diamond, making it difficult to defend him. Well, he had to count in his favor. And he got a fastball right down Main Street and hammers it out there into the gap in right center. A 2-0 fastball. And he hits it hard.
So for just the 2nd time today, the Cardinals have a runner at second base, and the first time since the 1st inning. Hayward now. That is the first extra base hit of the game for either team. The double by Carpenter.
And leadoff base runner for St. Louis, 2nd time. This time they got the top of the order up.
Hayward will do all he can to pull one here. He's a very good opposite field hitter. You could tell he was trying to hook one with that last swing, trying to get around it.
Yeah, he uses that hole between third and short very well. We've seen him do it a couple of times in the series.
This is a spot where Fiers could use a strikeout. Keeping the runner close at second. And the 1-1. Hayward again trying to pull that outside pitch. It's 1-2.
He is hooking, isn't he?
That can work against you, though, at some point.
Yeah, you don't really need to do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a base hit to left here. I mean, get you out of your game when he tried too much to pull the baseball. We'll see what he does now with 2 strikes. Mike Fiers, you want to stay out there. Don't give him anything to pull.
Yeah, see how far he'll go. Lucroy staying on that outer half. And Fiers gets him to reach. That's just beautiful pitching there by Fiers. He took something off, a change of pace to get a strikeout.
Yep, 82 miles an hour. Some good movement, some tail off the outside corner. Dandy of a pitch. And you see the grip off the corner, and Jason Hayward not able to make contact. That's about as good as it gets with 2 strikes. Now it's going to take a base hit for the Cardinals to score.
Fiers to face Matt Holliday. He's drawn a walk and he's grounded to short. He hit that ball to short firmly, but he broke his bat in the 4th inning. It was one hopper right to Segura. Leadoff double. Carpenter still at second with 1 away. No score. We play in the bottom of the 6th inning in a pitcher's duel in St. Louis this afternoon. Fiers working inside again. 2-0 the count.
You just don't want to leave anything out over the plate to Matt Holliday. Although if he has a count in favor like he does now, he will turn on one, but he likes to get those big arms extended.
Holliday has not homered this season. Cardinals count on him for about 20 a season. 2-0 the count. And Fiers wants to regroup.
Yeah, not sure about the pitch. Either the pitch or the location.
Gets one in there for a strike, so he stays inside and gets the inside corner.
He doesn't like it in there. I mean, he really doesn't. He has first base open, although Johnny Peralta no day at the beach coming up behind him.
And you got a couple of hot hitters too in Holliday and Peralta. See what he has in mind. 2 balls, 1 strike. Went outside this time. Holliday ever patient. Holliday's good in that regard. He'll turn it over to the next man, especially if the next hitter is hot. He's always had a good eye.
Well, no sense in swinging out of the zone when we don't have to. You don't get many hits on pitches that are out off the plate.
Here's a big pitch for Fiers. 3 balls, 1 strike. Carpenter with a modest lead. And Holliday sends one right field, foul. Hit it hard, but touch late. And it's 3-2.
Well, you see where he's looking, right? Away. That pitch wasn't even a strike, and Holliday hit it hard down that right field line. Let's see if Fiers tries to get him on the inside corner here.
One of the great things about the game, the pitcher-batter confrontation. All the thinking going on. You can just almost see it with Holliday and Fiers, thinking about all the pitches.
Hard to cover both sides of the plate. I mean, he has the outside corner covered pretty well.
See what he does. Full count, 1 away. Long pause. And Holiday asked for and is granted timeout. Now you wonder if Lucroy might change his sign here. And Carpenter, a pretty heady player.
Well, he didn't shift. I mean, he stayed right down the middle of the plate, almost as if it was by design that Fiers was going to hold the baseball. He didn't leak on the outside corner, didn't jump inside.
One of the things that separated Fiers last year was his numbers third time through the batting order. He had the third lowest opponent batting average third time through. That's typically when starters get hurt. Full count. And Holiday bangs one through for a base hit. Carpenter's going to score. And the Cardinals have the lead. Holiday comes through.
Yeah, right down the middle, up in the zone. Well, Jonathan Lucroy had the signal for a high fastball, but didn't jump inside. Didn't get on the inside corner. He was set up right down the middle. Fiers put it there. Maybe not high enough, but Holiday able to get on top of it and drive in the first run.
So Holiday with his third RBI in the last 2 games against the Brewers. 1-0 St. Louis. Still 1 out. Holiday at first now for Johnny Peralta. And there he goes. Pitches inside, throw to second, and safe. Stolen base for Holiday.
Oh, that one's on Mike Fiers right there. I mean, not really paying any attention to him. Holiday goes on the first pitch, actually first move, and although Lucroy puts one right on the bag, Holiday steals it easily. Good pitch to throw on, and look at the throw by Lucroy, but too late. He's a smart base runner, Holiday. Not fast, but a smart base runner.
Got a great jump there. Takes the Cardinals out of a double play to possibly end the inning. Second stolen base for Holiday, and good call by the second base umpire, Bill Welke. 1-1 on Peralta, who's lined out and singled against Fiers. A wave and a miss. Slow curveball from Fiers. 1-2 the count. Jeremy Jefferson, the bullpen. Fiers is due up second in the 7th. Peralta with 11 hits already on the season. It's just the 8th game.
This is a guy you don't want to bust inside too much. He likes to pull the baseball, and he'll jump on it. You see curveballs, fastballs away, keep it down.
2-2. And that one's going to find center field. Holiday got a late break. They'll hold him up. Peralta right off the end of the bat with a single. And the Cardinals threatening in a big way here. A run is in, first and third, still just 1 out.
And just threw the bat at it. It was a breaking pitch down the middle. Curveball, it was down. Peralta doing a pretty good job waiting back and just flipping it into center field. A one-handed swing, Holiday not able to score.
Two more hits today for Johnny Peralta. Mark Reynolds now, first and third. Fiers in desperate need of a ground ball double play. Got to be careful of Reynolds. He's got game-changing power. Oh, low throw dug out by Lind.
Well, you know he's going to be sitting on the first pitch.
Reynolds was a strikeout victim in the first, and then he singled in the fourth. Struck out on a curveball, looking, and then he singled on a curveball. Now looking ahead to the Brewers' 7th inning. Got the bottom of the order coming up. Parra will lead off, then the pitcher spot. And then you go to the top half. Remember, the Brewers are playing a man short today with Gomez back in Milwaukee having his hamstring looked at by doctors. That ball's hit well. Deep center field over the head of Parra and all the way to the fence. In to score is Holiday. Here comes Peralta. Throw to the plate, and Peralta is out at home.
I'm surprised that Jose Oquendo sent him. I mean, that was a beautiful cutoff and read by the Brewers. Parra got that base one to Segura quickly, and Gene with a good throwing arm able to get his man at home plate easily. Peralta not even close. But another run scores, and you can't do the relay any better than this. And Segura throws a strike to Lucroy, and he's just waiting for Peralta to get there.
That was an easy out. Good execution by the Brewers. That's a big play for Milwaukee. And that's going to be the end of the line here for Mike Fiers. So 4 hits in the inning. Third time through the batting order, the Cardinals go 4 for 5 at the plate. And Fiers will leave down 2-0. 2 outs in the inning. Fiers goes 5 2/3, and he'll give way to Jeremy Jeffress coming out of the Brewer bullpen, I believe. Actually, it's going to be Neil Cox, the left-hander. We'll set him up when we come back. Hits, including the double and RBI that knocked Mike Fiers from the game. He's at second with 2 away, and Renick's going to call on his left-hander Neil Kotz.
Yeah, Kotz pitched a scoreless inning in yesterday's ball game. Yeah, Kotz has looked good in the regular season after having a rough time in spring training. 5th appearance for Kotz, and excellent work. 7 strikeouts in 4 1/3.
Kotz was brought in to face John Jay, and Matheny's going to counter here with Randall Grichuk. Grichuk's a good defender as well, so Cardinals have a good weapon on their bench in Grichuk. He's made 2 pinch hit appearances in this series. He's 0 for 2. 2 outs in the inning. Kotz trying to get the Brewers to the dugout. John Jay's been hitting left-handers this year, or rather last year, hit .375. But Matheny would rather have the matchup in his favor, even though Jay proved he could hit lefties last season.
Yeah. Well, it's probably a 2-for-1. You get Grichuk up there to hit for John Jay, and then probably Peter Bourjos to play center field. We'll see.
Grichuk has big power. Mike Matheny says he has the most power on the team, and that's saying a lot with the guys like Matt Adams and Matt Holliday.
Right.
Yeah, Cott's falling behind 3-0.
And you figure he's going to get the green light to swing here on 3-0. Why not, right? Got to be careful. First base open. Got a double play candidate on deck.
2 runs are in on 4 hits. Reynolds at second. And there's a strike. Fiers went 5 shutout before running into trouble here in the 6th inning. In the air, left field, well hit. Back is Davis. Sunglasses on. He's got it for the out. Chris Davis runs it down. And a tough Sun field this time of day as well. Heck of a play by Davis. The Brewers needed that. Just shy of the wall. Davis hauls it in. Cardinals lead 2-0.
As we head to the 7th, they make plans to be at Miller Park for Willie Peralta bobblehead day, Sunday, April 26th. As the Brewers take on the St. Louis Cardinals, all fans in attendance get a Willie Peralta bobblehead, courtesy of U.S. Cellular. Reserve your spot today at Brewers.com.
Now the Brewers have work to do now, trailing 2-0, and Randal Grichuk will remain in the game in center field for Jay. Almost hit one out of here. After all of that, the Cardinals scored twice on 4 hits. Brewers trail 2-0, 7th inning with Parra leading off. And it looks like Logan Schaefer will hit next for Milwaukee.
Kind of unusual for a manager to take out probably his best defensive outfield. I don't know if, Grichuk, we don't know a whole lot about him as a defender, but, with a 2-0 lead, you take out your starting center fielder. Somewhat unusual.
Matheny must be confident in Grichuk.
Yeah, I guess he's got 3 pretty good ones in Peter Bourjos and Grichuk and John Jay.
No balls, 2 strikes on Parra. Lackey now pitching with the lead. Coming off his best inning of the day last inning. 3 up, 3 down with 2 strikeouts. That's Matt Belisle in the Cardinal bullpen. roller to first. Reynolds scoops it up. Parra is retired. And one away in the 7th.
Yeah, the pitch count's going to get John Lackey. He's at 96. You figure this might be his last inning.
A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. Here's Logan Schaefer now, pinch hitting. If you're just picking us up, Carlos Gomez left the team earlier today to return to Milwaukee. He injured his hamstring in his final at bat in the 9th inning last night. And he will be evaluated when he gets to Milwaukee, and then the Brewers will make a decision whether he returns to the team or whether he goes on the disabled list. So the Brewers are a man short today.
Yeah, even those slight tweaks to a hamstring, they could turn into big problems if you don't be careful. So it'd be interesting to see what the Brewers elect to do. Bad enough for him to head back to Milwaukee.
Schaefer on the ground to second. Lackey has 2 outs. Lackey is locked in right now. He's retired 6 in a row. The trouble that he's been in, he's had 2 outs in the innings. Gave up back-to-back hits with 2 outs in the 4th. And then he gave up a walk and a single with 2 outs in the 5th. So the Brewers have stranded 7 today after leaving 11 men on base yesterday. Brewers just have not been able to get the offense going this season.
Yep, 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position today. They were 3 for 14 last night.
It's just another reminder that spring training means nothing as far as statistics go. Segura trying to bunt his way on. I mean, you look up the score register for the Brewers in spring training, they were putting together double-digit runs totals just about every day, it seemed. I think there was one stretch they had maybe 5 out of 6 they scored at least 10 runs in a game.
Yeah.
See Segura at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Singled in the 3rd. Batting in the leadoff spot for the first time this year today.
Man, look at Neil Kotz. I mean, he could barely get anybody out in spring training, and he has been outstanding so far in the early going.
The most runs the Brewers have scored in a game was 6. That was that 6-0 shutout Jimmy Nelson and company in their lone win against the Pirates. Other than that, the Brewers have not scored more than 4 runs in a game. And Lackey's working on a shutout. Thought he had a called strike 3 there. He was walking off the mound, wasn't he?
John Hirschbeck didn't agree. Let's see where this one is. I'm not sure where that one missed.
Fox Tracks had it right at the top of the strike zone. Well, Segura strikes out. And it's a moot point. 8 punch-outs for Lackey. 7 shutout innings. 2-0 Cardinals. a big crowd here in St. Louis watching their Redbirds just take the lead in the 6th inning. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap coming up. The Brewers and the Pirates tomorrow. Brewers are headed to Pittsburgh after the game tonight. And Jimmy Nelson will get the start. He'll match up against left-hander Jeff Locke. That lone win for Locke came against Milwaukee. Then you got Loesch and Vance Worley Saturday, and then Sunday afternoon the finale is Matt Garza, Garrett Cole. That'll be a good matchup of power right-handers. Jeremy Jeffress is the new pitcher for the Brewers.
Yeah, Jeremy's 6th appearance, a 2.08 earned run average. Gave up a couple of runs his last time out. That was Monday here at Busch Stadium in the Brewers' victory here in St. Louis. Well, he's got the bottom 3 in the batting order to deal with in this 7th inning.
Well, Molina 1 for 2 today, but Molina has done his best work behind the plate, navigating John Lackey through 7 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts. Lackey, I'm guessing, is done for the day. His spot is due up 3rd, and a pitch count probably right where the Cardinals want him. On the first pitch, out to Segura. Nice easy hop, and there is out number 1.
Right, Jeffers, that big fastball with the good movement, the curveball to go with it. Had some control issues in his outing here on Monday. Sometimes that pitch of his, that fastball of his, moves a little bit too much.
Wong takes a strike.
Actually was in an outing at Miller Park where he had his control issues.
Yeah, he had to work around a defensive lapse.
Error. Yeah, error. Yep.
And misplay in right field. He actually was able to survive that inning on Monday and maintain lead to get the ball to Broxton and then to K-Rod. There were 2 runs that scored in that Jeffress inning, but one of those unearned. He's done a good job for the Brewers. That one's into center field, and that'll fall for a base hit. Parra able to cut it off. Wong is on his way to second. The throw comes in, the tag, and he is safe. Segura says he wants to take a look.
I'd say that's a gutsy play by Gene Segura, but how about the throw from Parra? On the run, he goes down on his knees, gets up, and throws a perfect strike to Segura. And Segura is hanging right in there, gets bowled over, and we'll see what the Brewers elect to do. Looks safe to me.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be tough to reverse. If not, Segura hung in there tough. It was a great throw from Parra, but Wong came in there hot.
Yeah, he's safe, and Ron Renicky on his way out. He wants Will Smith to face these 3 lefties.
Matheny has sent Adams up there. They've announced him. Safe is the call.
That's a beautiful throw, though, by Gerardo Parra out in center field.
So that's going to be a double for Wong. And we'll take a timeout, set up Will Smith when we come back.
Gomez, and no play better example of that than right here, playing shallow, goes down. Look at the throw into second base. And this is right on the money. One hopper, easy to handle for Segura, and almost got Wong at second base.
Now Wong was being tended to by the athletic trainer during the pitching change. But he's all right. They were looking at his left hand, at the top of his left hand. Stays in the game, though. Brewers have a new pitcher, Will Smith. Cardinals had sent up Matt Adams. He was pulled back, and they counter with Peter Borges. Those are the numbers for Smith. He's yet to allow a run. Has 5 strikeouts in his 2 2/3 innings thus far. And we have 1 man out here in the Cardinals' 7th. Borges on the first pitch. Out to Jeanette. And 1 pitch for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, Smith came in on Monday and struck out the only batter that he faced. That was Jason Hayward. And was able to get Borges quickly. First pitch.
Might be a game where if Smith can get Carpenter, where you might have him come back out for the 8th inning and face Jason Hayward. Certainly capable of doing that. Brewers down 2-0. This is a huge run to leave stranded at second if you can do it. Offense has struggled enough. Lackey is out of the game. And now you're stepping into that St. Louis bullpen. Matheny has Jordan Walden as his setup man, and then of course Rosenthal, who already has 3 saves this year, as his closer.
Well, you got to wonder who you'd rather face here, Carpenter or Hayward. Carpenter very good at staying on the baseball.
There's a good fastball for a strike at 92. Ball and a strike on Matt Carpenter.
You got first base open. You don't have to throw too many strikes to Carpenter. See if he can chase. I think Hayward a little bit more susceptible to the strikeout.
Smith has struck out both Hayward and Carpenter in this series. And Carpenter in the right center, and that's going to go all the way to the wall. RBI double for Matt Carpenter. Boy, this guy is some kind of hitter. It was his double that started the rally in the 6th. This time a double in a run producer's role makes it 3-0 St. Louis.
He's just so good at staying on everything. I mean, you hate to see a base hit on a fastball in. They try to come in on him. I mean, if anything else, I think sliders away. If you walk him, so be it. You go after Jason Hayward, who is more of a strikeout guy. But Carpenter takes the fastball in and drives it into the gap, and Wong scores run number 3.
Cardinals are cashing in with runners in scoring position. Reynolds had a 2-out RBI double last inning. Carpenter with a 2-out RBI double this inning. That run will belong to Jeffress. He goes a 1/3 of an inning, giving up an earned run. And Smith falling behind Hayward. That's the thing about playing matchup, and a lot of times you talk about a left-hander versus a left-hander. It's not a guarantee, especially a hitter like Carpenter.
Yeah, I'd avoid that guy at all costs.
He's starting to move into the territory of pitch around in a clutch situation.
Yeah, especially when you have first base open, you got another lefty behind him.
Two outs, 2-1 to Hayward. 3 balls and a strike. And he lost him. So the 2 lefties that Smith is brought on to face, he gives up a double and a walk. It's never automatic. 2 on with 2 out, and here comes Matt Holliday, and on his way to the mound is Rick Kranitz.
Yeah, I think that double by Carpenter really got into the head of Will Smith. I mean, he had a good opportunity to get out of the inning. He was able to get a quick out on Randal Grichuk on the first pitch. Just made a mistake with a fastball, and I think one of the reasons it kind of rattled him a bit and not able to throw strikes to Hayward.
That's the first walk of the season for Jason Hayward. Tyler Thornburg beginning to get loose. 3 runs are in for the Cardinals, 2 in the 6th. They've added 1 here in the 7th. This was a scoreless game through 5 1/2. Fiers was pitching a dandy until he ran into trouble in the 6th inning, giving up 2 runs on 4 hits. Now Holliday. Holliday drove in a key run in the 6th inning. He put the Cardinals on the board with an RBI single.
Yeah, that was on a 2-strike pitch. A 3-2 pitch. Able to center on it and roll it into center field.
Through the first 5 innings, the Cardinals had 3 hits. They've had 6 since in the last 2 innings, and a walk. Quickly 0-2 on Holliday. Two on, 2 out. The 0-2 pitch. Holliday swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. And the side is retired, but an insurance run for St. Louis. Lucroy, Braun, and Lynn coming up. Brewers down 3. Top. Randal Grichuk will move over to left field. Holliday is out as Matheny tightens up his defense. Peter Bourjos will remain in the game to play center. So the Cardinals are very good with their outfield defense now. And Rocket's going to be their setup man. Jordan Walden, who came with Hayward from the Braves in that Shelby Miller deal. He's on here in the 8th in a 3-0 Cardinal lead.
Yeah, Walden pitched the 8th inning. Gave up a double to Aramis Ramirez, but they would retire the Brewers without having a run cross home plate. Involved in that deal with Jason Hayward that sent Shelby Miller to the Atlanta Braves.
This is the part of the order the Brewers want coming up. They've got Lucroy, Braun, and Adam Lind. Lucroy walked his last time up. He's 0 for 2 today. Game was scoreless going into the bottom of the 6th. Cardinals got 2 RBIs from Holiday and Mark Reynolds, and Carpenter just drove in the 3rd St. Louis run. 3 runs on 9 hits. Brewers have not scored. They have stranded 7. Lackey goes 7 shutout. 8 strikeouts for Lackey. Had just 1 walk today. Good command. And he was able to give the bullpen some time off at this point. One thing about Walden and Rosenthal, the 2 at the back end of Matheny's bullpen, they both historically have struggled with command. So if you're going to get them, you can usually get some walks and then a strike. And that's on the edge. Boy, he burned off the corner with a fastball that time. Lucroy knew it, and an about face.
And pretty much will just predominantly stay away. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to be messing around the inside part of the plate too much. I mean, most of your late relievers pretty much work the outside part of the plate. It's the old Raleigh fingers theory. They're not going to beat me with a home run. They're going to have to get 2-3 singles.
Now to bring up Ryan Braun now with 1 away.
Any philosophy that Raleigh Fingers incorporated is okay by me.
You seem to have it figured out.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, those are the kind of things he talks about in the rocking chair at Cooperstown.
Although most pitchers don't have the finger slider or splitter.
Yeah, and impeccable command.
Right, yeah.
That corner with all those pitches.
Saw Raleigh in spring training.
How's the mustache looking?
Doing good. He's at the ballpark.
I think he chiefed me at spring training. I couldn't quite tell. Ground ball, Peralta ranging over, and the throw is in time to get Braun. Close play. Braun was busting it down the line. Peralta just got it there in time.
So you're saying he didn't really know who you were?
He kind of looked at me and went, "Hey, Chief." So I'm going to say no. Well, Adam Lind, who hasn't hit many homers, just 3 this year, but Lind had the first one. That's worth something. Powerball home run count at 3. Lind, Segura, and Gomez. And Lind is up there with 2 outs. That was a direct hit on home plate umpire John Hirschbeck. Good thing he's wearing shin guards.
And not often Molina doesn't get a glove on a pitch. Yeah, giving him some time. Change up or some kind of splitter. That one got right off the foot.
Plate day for John Hirschbeck. Two 2-0 on Lind, who's 0 for 3. Brewers need base runners. They trail 3-0.
Yeah, that's why that double by Matt Carpenter was so big. You go from a 2-run lead to a 3-run lead. Now it's going to take 2 base runners and a long ball to tie it up. That was a big run.
Strike, 3-1 now. Cardinals are trying to get to the end with just 2 relievers used. They used 6 yesterday. Matheny came out in the papers today in St. Louis saying he's using his relievers too much as Lind lines out into left. And I don't think he's knocking himself, Craig Kashan. I think that one was a direct shot to maybe his starting rotation to try to go a little deeper in the game.
Well, you know, you think about it, the last 3 wins they've had, they've used 18 pitchers, including the one yesterday, and the middle relief for this Cardinal staff right now, though, they have enough options that they can kind of tinker around with that idea of just keep rotating guys in and out without getting tired arms in middle relief. But I think you're right about the starting pitching. They've had the quality starts, but how deep are they going?
And that's put him in a position where Matheny, just like yesterday with Lance Lynn, who went 5, he was at about 100 pitches through 5 innings. You have no choice.
Well, when you use 6 pitchers for 6 consecutive hitters, I mean, you got to lay a little bit of that blame on yourself, don't you? Not just the starting pitching.
And Matheny's a stand-up guy, and I'm sure that that was part of it. Like, look, our bullpen is being overused way early, and so it provided a little inspiration for John Lackey today, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he around 100 pitches, a little over, and got through 7 innings.
Now the Brew Crew desperate for a base runner here to bring the tying run to the plate. They got some pop on deck in Chris Davis. Been tough for the Brewers to string together hits. They have 6 hits today, but 7 stranded. Ramirez goes, and the inning is over, and Aramas continues to struggle at the plate. 0 for 4 today. The Brewers being shut out through 8 innings. Cardinals are coming up. Head to the mound here for the bottom of the 8th inning. St. Louis has a 3-0 lead. Numbers on Thornburg.
Gave up 6 unearned runs his last time out. That was Sunday against the Pirates.
Needs a little redemption coming back. You're always anxious to get back on the mound, even though it doesn't show on his ERA. 6 runs scored in that game, a game that the Pirates would win 10-2. Johnny Peralta leads off. He'll be followed by Mark Reynolds and then Grichuk. Cardinals got 2 in the 6th, added 1 last inning. Brewers being shut out through 8, combined Lackey and Jordan Walden, and those 2 pitchers have combined for 10 Ks. Lackey had 8. After the game today, the Brewers will head to Pittsburgh. 3-game series with the Pirates. Pirates are off today. The Cardinals will remain here at Busch. They'll bring in the Reds tomorrow. And then we'll see the Cardinals again shortly. April 24th through the 26th in Milwaukee next week. One and two to Johnny Peralta. Hit hard but foul. They announced a crowd today of 40,079. Many of them didn't show up today, but tickets sold 40,000.
Largest crowd ever here on Monday, right?
Yeah, the home opener. It was the largest at this Busch Stadium history. The third version of Busch Stadium. As Peralta flies out. One away.
Yeah, next time you're at Miller Park, make sure to check out the new seat upgrade feature located within the MLB.com ballpark app. You can upgrade your seats to exclusive areas such as the club level, dugout box, or even right behind home plate. Download MLB.com ballpark free for your smartphone or tablet.
One gone for Mark Reynolds. He had a key hit in RBI in the 6th. A 2-out RBI double. That was Fire's last hitter. Fire's pitched well today. He ran into trouble in the 6th inning, but he's pitching with such a fine line with the zero production offensively. You're forced to take him out. You're pitching a little tighter when you get into those spots.
Yeah, guess who started the 6th inning, right? Matt Carpenter.
He has been a nemesis hitter for the Brewers. For everybody, really. 2 hits today for Carpenter, including an RBI double last inning. Right off the end of the bat, Thornburg will take it himself. 2 outs. Randal Grichuk batting for the 2nd time. He sent Davis to the wall his last time up. Davis made a great play in left field. That's how the 6th inning ended. You look at Grichuk, he's not a big guy to start with. You know, small in stature, and the way he stands up there at the plate, kind of holds the bat in. You think, well, this guy is probably just like a little opposite field hitter, a little punch and Judy guy.
No,
but that's not the case.
Just the opposite.
He can uncoil with the best of them,
and he can strike out with the best of them.
I was watching his batting practice yesterday. He was launching balls into the bleachers in left field. I mean, hitting them as far as anybody the Cardinals have up there in Big Mac land.
That's a nice changeup right there. That's an equalizer. That's a good pitch to a power hitter. That changeup got some movement on it. And a great pitch to throw on a 2-1 count.
Here's a 2-2.
Not going to hit that pitch into Big Mac land.
Looking ahead to the Brewer 9th inning. Chris Davis will lead off. Then Scooter Gennett. Each have hits today. And Gerardo Parra, who is also singled today. It's the bottom of the order, 6, 7, and 8. And Thornburg trying to get him there, down 3. One game's gone final today. The Twins win again. They beat the Royals 8-5. Royals are slumping bad. Two losses.
In a row? Yeah.
2 losses in a row. They're 7-2. Circle the wagons. Popped him up. Braun's got a long way to go toward the wall, and he slides, and that ball bounces in the seats. Good try by Ryan Braun. Braun made a great diving catch here yesterday. That was off Matt Holliday, robbed him of an extra base hit.
Had to go to the replay to get the out.
Yeah, that was the first one of the year for the Brewers. First replay review of the season.
Called it a double initially.
Here's a 2-2 again. Grichuk doesn't bite. Full count. Hit hard, center field. Parra can't get it. Over his head. Grichuk flying around the bags. He'll stop at second with a double. Well, he's flashing some of that power right there.
Yeah, finally made a mistake in Thornburg. Everything he was throwing was in on the hands of Grichuk, at least the fastballs. And this one he leaves out over the plate. And that was a changeup up in the zone, and Grichuk able to center on it and hit it hard over the head of Parra. Big difference in location. You get that changeup down, it becomes a tough pitch to hit. You leave it upstairs, give a hitter a chance.
Well, that is a runner that Thornburg has to keep at second base. Here's Molina. Be careful on this first pitch. And a little half swing. Did he go? He did not. Check swing for Molina. 1-0 the count. Yadier had a single in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. Hit the ball sharply last time, but he hit it right at Segura. Curveball strike. St. Louis closer Trevor Rosenthal is getting loose in the bullpen. Belisle's next to him in case it moves out of a save situation, I suppose. And there's a shot to center. And another run's going to score. Yadier Molina with an RBI single, and the Cardinals keep tacking them on. It's 4-0 now.
Yep, and it will be Belisle now. That's exactly what they were doing. Trevor Rosenthal will sit down. It's a 4-0 game. Now the Cardinals have scored in each of the last 3 innings. Middle in after 2 curveballs, he throws a fastball in, and Molina taking it right back through the middle. And the Brewers are in trouble.
Cardinals have come up big with 2 outs in these late innings. Reynolds and Carpenter, and now Molina with 2-out RBI hits each of the last 3 innings. 3 of the 4 runs that have scored have come with 2-out hits. Colton Wong had a double and a run scored last inning. Three balls and a strike on Wong. Thornburg had an elbow problem last year. He thought he was going to have Tommy John surgery, the ligament replacement surgery. Was able to avoid surgery, rehab that elbow. Velocity's down a tick from where it was when he was on top of his game in the first half of last year. He was putting together a great season. It's unfortunate that he got injured.
He was almost unhittable before he got hurt.
Had a fastball in the mid-90s. He was throwing that changeup very well.
And had a good spring this year to make the ball club.
Full count. Molina will take off with the pitch. And Wong in the air to right. Braun is coming in, and Braun makes the catch. Heck of a play by Ryan Braun to end the inning. But the Cardinals score again. They get another 2-out RBI hit, this time from Yadier Molina. And it's 4-0 St. Louis. Nice play by Braun. Last call for the Crew. Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. And let's take a look at our Marshfield Clinic shining moment of the game. Couple of opportunities defensively. We go with Ryan Braun, though. It's the last thing on our mind, this diving catch in right field.
He's made some nice plays, one going down the line in yesterday's ball game, and this one into the gap, and able to make both of those catches.
Well, you never know if the Brewers are able to mount a comeback here in the ninth. We'll look back at that catch. For now, the Brewers are going to face Matt Belisle. Pete Kozma comes in to play second base. That's got to rattle Colton Wong a little bit, being replaced defensively.
Yeah.
With a 4-0 lead, and instead of Rosenthal, it'll be Belisle.
Yeah, Belisle pitched in yesterday's ball game. Gave up a hit in 2/3 of an inning. His 5th appearance overall so far this year.
Now he's appeared in all 3 in this series against the Brew Crew. Chris Davis, Scooter Gennett, Gerardo Parra, a pinch hitter, Gene Segura, Jonathan Lucroy, and maybe Ryan Braun to bat in this inning.
I like that.
If you're going to come.
I like that. I like the way
back.
you're thinking. You got nowhere to go. Play all day.
Now that's a do-up. Just name everybody in the lineup. Saw Bob Costas earlier. He came over to say hello. He waited till you left, and then he came by and
I saw
said
him.
hi. Oh, okay.
I saw him.
He lives in St. Louis part of the time. He's tight with Uke. Uke's got quite the Rolodex. Does anybody have Rolodexes anymore? If anybody does, Uke would. I don't think people still keep the Rolodexes. Davis in the air to shallow right field. Hayward's coming in. He'll make the call and the catch, and one away.
It's on the phone. I mean, the Rolodex is the phone, right?
Not that I've gone through Uke's phone, but
I don't think
it's a pretty impressive list on
I don't
there.
think Uke has a Rolodex. I think everybody else has him in their Rolodex.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah, and Uke's got people. He's got people. He's got human Rolodexes. There's Bob Costas along with Uke. Joe Block knocked the picture. It's like a few innings off here for Joe, it looks like. Jeanette takes a strike.
Be tough to nudge your way into that conversation, wouldn't it? What do you have to add, right?
Bob was he was on the air the other day, MLB Network, for that 19-inning Yankees Red Sox game. He and Smoltz. Jeanette in the air to left center field. Borges runs it down. Boy, that guy can really fly. There never was a doubt. 2 outs in the inning. Well, I don't know where it's coming from, but the Brewers are going to have to find some answers offensively. Putting too much pressure on their pitching staff. The lack of offense.
And margins are very thin for that pitching staff.
And this is a team that is built to hit. This is a team assembled to score runs and hit home runs, and they're not doing it. Hopefully the worm will turn soon. Brewers in danger of dropping to 2-7 with one more out. Carlos Gomez back in Milwaukee. Will be anxiously awaiting the report from Milwaukee about Gomez and his injured hamstring. Supposed to see a doctor in Milwaukee in about a half an hour was the original itinerary, and then the Brewers will be able to make a decision as they get to Pittsburgh whether to DL him or not. Craig will have more for you on the Brewers Live postgame. Jeff Grayson and Jerry Augustine back in our Brewers Live studios. If any news breaks, we'll certainly pass it along. Tomorrow night, Brewers Pirates. Matt LePay will be joining Rock in the booth. Jimmy Nelson will be back on the mound. He'll face Jeff Locke. That'll be the only left-hander the Brewers face for a while. Left-handed starter. 2-2 to Parra. And the count goes full. Brewers down to their last strike. On the ground to Peralta, good glove, and that's it. The Cardinals win the series. They work a combined 6-hit shutout today. John Lackey, the winner, goes 7 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts. Jordan Walden and Matt Belisle. The Brewers drop 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals and now head to Pittsburgh for a 3-game series. Time for Brewers Live. Let's send it to Jeff Grayson in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio. Jeff?